seems to me that I don't know if this is something you'd agree with, but it seems like where there's that democratic deficit, and where the sort of the elite and the political elite, but also just in these institutions, where they've become so out of touch with the ordinary, public in places like Urmston, it's left a gap in the market for a politician to come in and start resonating with the public, and that's what is called populism. And then you get the mainstream media and others. I think of like Alistair Campbell's and Roy Stewart's of the world that become very snooty about it, and rather than actually addressing the concerns of those citizens and addressing the root causes, they just kind of become very sneering of populism as a whole. I mean, you said in your Substack article about the book, you said it offers an antidote to the confusions and distortions peddled by the anti-populist ideologues. So what are those confusions and distortions? How can we, like you say there, how can we have something how can we offer a reasonable solution, or what's the right
alternative?
Word? An alternative.
Well, I think that one can give an alternative account. One of the ways that I try to do it is by arguing that everything that these people say about populism is fictitious, because if you look at the way that populism is defined, they almost always say that they're just anti-elitist. Being anti-elitist is their dominant, sort of sentiment. But actually, populism is not anti-elitist. They're anti-certain kinds of elites that are around. It's not like they have, this kind of obsession with elites in general, but certainly with the people, particularly the cultural elites that exist within our society. Or alternatively, they say is that populists tend to be racist, and populists tend to have this obsession with what they call the pure people. And every definition of populism talks about how populism is continually has this quest to make sure that the pure people, sort of are protected. But the reason why they do that is because when you use the term pure people, it has very strong links with what the Nazis used to argue. But if you read what the populists say about themselves, what they write, I never once saw a single reference to the pure people. That's not something that actually exists. So what I try to show is that there are certain things about populism that are its defining feature. And I think that one of them is a quest for solidarity. There's a real deep yearning to build communities through real solidarity. I talk about the fact that there's a quest for a home, that people really want to feel that this is my home, this is where I belong, this is where sort of I feel that I am who I am, I know my place in the world. There's a quest for belonging, having a kind of community sensibility where you can take things for granted and you don't have to explain yourself. There's also an element of patriotism. And the reason why patriotism is important is because unless you take the nation seriously, you cannot take democracy seriously, because democracy can only work within the boundaries of a nation. It's not something that you can support and promote abstractly on a global sort of scale. So I go on and I look at all the different elements that populism has and that people are yearning for. And there's also this incredible demand for a voice. People want to be taken seriously, and they want to have their voices heard, and that's something that is usually ignored and not understood by those people who are hostile to this. So in the whole thing, what I try to do is to kind of represent this aspiration on the part of people to take control over their lives. And what I end up concluding is that what they are really, what populism really is an attempt to give meaning to democracy. It's like democracy in action in the end. And okay, democracy is not always beautiful and pretty. It's often very messy. But when people are trying to make sense of the world and trying to develop a sense of agency, then I think on balance, that's a very positive development.